Well, you look the part, but let's see some of your moves.
Feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to. Ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carbonites off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, time to get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy. The carbonite is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm just.
There we go. Sorry, I
Awesome.
abruptly stopped it there for a minute.
That's all right. Dropped out of hyperspace a little too soon.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just learning this part of it. So, say something.
Something. So I think by May 4th,
I got mono ear. I don't have mono the disease. How about that?
That's better. Mono ear.
I started using these little earphones when we did the
Georgies.
Yeah, the Georgies, and I liked them better, but because I realized like this ear is not good with earphones. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's good. Okay.
See, I want to get to the place where I'm wearing those wireless ones.
Huh?
I want to get to the place where I'm wearing the wireless ones.
Yeah, I have the wireless hookup somewhere for this, but because Zoe uses her earpods, but I told her to shut the mic off. She started because there was some distortion with her mic, so she uses them for hearing and the mic for talking. So
gotcha.
So
the mics are so much nicer. They have that, what is it, condenser or whatever.
Yeah. So this is what I've learned from my homework podcast. So we welcome everybody, and we should give a brief description of our podcast, like every time.
Okay.
Don't you think? I mean, I don't know what you've learned from your homework so far, but I don't want to say any names because I'm just getting into it. But a couple of the podcasts were Star Wars gaming podcasts, and they just continued into wherever they left off the last one.
Oh wow! Okay.
And so I was like, "What am I listening to?" So this is the Inflatable Falcon. It's a podcast. This is our 1-year anniversary. John will be here later, but it's our 1-year anniversary of this endeavor of just positive fans talking about Star Wars, right?
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. Absolutely.
I mean, so and that's. I mean, I don't know how else we can put it. I mean,
one thing in addition to being a positive conversation about Star Wars, we talk about various aspects of Star Wars. We talk about the content that's shared, whether it's the new stuff that's showing up on Disney Plus or, going back in time and talking about the original trilogy. We talk about our experience as costumers.
Yeah.
And we also from time to time, bring a guest or 12 on and get them involved in the conversation.
We're like feast and famine when it comes to the thing. So yeah, that's a good way to put it. I'm just checking right now to see. So anyone that's just listening to us, they're gonna they don't know what we're doing, but I'm trying to make sure our live feed is showing up, because the YouTube feed last time was acting weird. So let's see my live. And yes, it is. I don't know why the chat is not connected to the live again, but I'm not sure what that. The restream is letting me down on that part. I don't know
Has
why.
there been any updates or upgrades to it or anything like that you know
It's
of?
okay now. Wait a minute. Let me check. I'm just checking. Now it's working. Oh, there's some neat upgrades. There's one where it's woken up Sunday with my credit card company giving me a text that there was an odd bill, and it was the re-up of the restream
Oh,
service.
really?
So, oh, good. John is working on YouTube, so that's good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I just want to tell people what our podcast is about. I mean, we'll do some plugs and stuff like that, but um, I just listening to podcasts, I was thinking of, wow, what don't I like about these, or what would I like? I know that's a don't like is a harsh thing, but what would I if I could tell them, and just letting people know what your podcast is about.
Well, I guess another way to describe that is which aspects of their show do you appreciate and enjoy, and which parts do you not prefer?
Right.
Because one of the things, going back to the topic of homework. So one of the things that we've done for each other, you, me, and John, is we've chosen to go through the 115 or so podcasts that were part of Star Wars Podcast Day 2023 and listen to them to get ideas and to hear what other podcasters are doing. And I've listened to a handful of them, and I feel the same way as you do. There are some pieces that I really enjoy, not just from the perspective of I think we could recreate that or do something similar, but I think it's a neat topic, a neat aspect of Star Wars that we don't always get to feature. I mean, we don't spend a lot of time talking about Star Wars video games or
Right.
getting into the novels as much. And when I hear other people do that or talk about that, it's exciting and interesting.
Right.
And then there are other pieces where I'm like, yeah, that's definitely not for me.
Right. Well, and I think like for me, besides like the knowledge that you bring and all of that stuff, I like talking that way with Star Wars, but I have shied away from recaps of shows. I mean, I have a few that I go to for their recaps, which I just like their style of how they do them. Like, but and we're not like a recap show. Like we might talk about like generalities of what we like about stuff, but we're not like recapping. And I still like our costume talk. Especially that when we're all busy. Like I know there's a couple weeks we were just all kind of, I don't want to say lazy, but we were just like, we got like life gets in the way a little bit. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I enjoyed I enjoyed going through them. Like I said, the first two I listened to were gaming ones. I listened to about a third of them, and it was good if I was super into that kind of gaming. Like it wasn't computer gaming; it was like role playing gaming.
Oh, really? Okay.
You walked in. I don't know if you've ever seen Critical Role.
I've heard of it.
So it's like what kind of it's I would say it's the backbone of what rejuvenated the Dungeons and Dragons in like my kids' generation, and this is like the Star Wars version of that. So, which is good if you're expecting it. But when I get up at 6 a.m. and I put in my first podcast and they were talking about, I was like, what? They're talking about like falafel or something. Like, I don't understand. I was like, doing the 30-second skip. Like, did I get on a commercial for something? So,
well, it's just like Star Wars dropping you right in the middle of the action. You have to figure it out as you go.
Well, yeah. And again, I think I'm going to circle back to any of those later. I'll probably go back to like, I'm sure they have an episode where they're like, hey, we're starting this adventure my pillars of growing up were, but comic books before Star Wars came around, Dungeons and Dragons, and Star Wars. That's like the pillars of me growing up. And my Dungeons and Dragons, I would include Lord of the Rings with that. The books, we didn't have the movies. We had the Rankin Bass cartoon and stuff. And so the Dungeons and Dragons, the role-playing part really, I like that part. But not when you're just right in the middle and you're like, wait, what's going on here?
You missed 4 hours of what happened.
Yeah. So, because I've said to Zoe, like she does they play some cool role playing games with their friends from college. So, I said, yeah, that would be a neat, the thing to do. But if you ever get a chance to watch Critical Role, that shows what it can be. So I would imagine most people are striving for that.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's my homework. But
So one of the shows I listen to, um, it's a show with 3 hosts.
Mhm.
One of them is actually a film historian, from what I understand, and so each episode has had a very specific theme, and they've managed to talk both Star Wars and real world examples from that can be seen in Star Wars. And it's been pretty interesting. There's been a couple moments where I'm like, I'm not sure if I'll listen to another episode, and then I just plow through. I'll give them another shot. I'll
Yeah.
listen to the next one. So I think I've listened to maybe 4 of their episodes so far.
Nice.
And then I started listening to another one on my way home from work today, and I'll see how that one plays out. And that one is just 2 hosts.
Yeah, I was like backed up. Like I'm at the point where I was almost like, okay, I just need to like clear my podcatcher because I still have shows that I was listening to from when we did the panel at Celebration. So I still had like I was trying to like listen to theirs and it's almost like I have to like clean my podcatcher and just like start anew, because and I have like certain days, like my almost always my Friday is Dad Batch. Like that's my Friday drive to Zoe's show circumvents everyone, which that from just doing this with me. Like whenever she drops a show, then that's my first show to listen to.
Yeah,
And
it makes
then
sense to me.
second and third is you and John. And then Dad Batch is that's like my go-tos, So
Yeah, I think one of my go-to. I have listened to a handful of the Dad Batch. One of my other go-tos. Actually, I have 2 go-tos beyond our shows. Blast Points. I
okay.
absolutely positively love that show, and if I can figure out a way of hanging out with Jason and Gabe. Sorry about.
They don't like blast points apparently. Yeah, so those, if you're jumping on, I see John was on, but if you're jumping on,
I'm not sure what nerve I just struck. I apologize for that.
oh, that's all right.
Yeah, and she's right here by the microphone, so that probably was quite loud.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know if I listened to blast points lately, but
yeah, one of the so there are 2 things I absolutely 3 things I love about Blast Points. Number 1, their approach to it is so optimistic and honorific. I mean, they gush over just about everything Star Wars, which is right in my my sweet spot. I mean, they talk about everything from the commercials of Star Wars to interviewing people like Tom Spina and Kirk Thatcher and Nick Malay and like just some incredible guests. And the other piece to it is they're just really funny, and their show is well produced. They have little, whether it's a commercial clip, meaning a Kenner commercial from the 1970s, or a homemade song that they've made for their show. They're quite remarkable.
mm-hmm.
And then the other one that I enjoy listening to is Full of Sith, just because they've been around for so long, and they have some amazing interviews that I'm green with envy when I listen to who they get a chance to speak with.
I still miss Mike though.
Yeah, he was on just not too long ago because they were doing a 10th. I think it was a 10th anniversary special.
Yeah,
so
I invite him to every armor party.
What was that?
I invite him to every armor party.
Oh, really?
Well, he lives 10 minutes from Marty.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Because I mean, all my equipment I got from him, all my mics and everything. So
we have our show is partially connected to the
it's the Full of Sith leftovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
full of Sith adjacent.
Well, that's what I think. If I ever did another show, like if I can get Colin back to doing CreatorCast, I would love to do a show that I don't have to do anything but show up. You know what I mean? Because is like, and Zoe's show isn't hard anymore because it's just the style of her show. But there was years where that was just like, she would get done because it was on Lizzie's time at 11 o'clock at night. And then I would have to try to fix all of the sound because Lizzie's level was low or Lizzie's level was high or there was a delay or there was, you know what I mean? And I would just, and I know nothing about sound engineering. So I'm trying, like, I remember messaging Mike Pilot and he was like, look, use these settings in Audacity. And so I'd run it through Audacity to level it out. And then I would have to split it somehow. And he was he told me what mixer to buy. And he walked me through years ago on how to try to fix it. And then, and it helped for a while, but it just got to be like there, you know,
A third job.
It'd be like 1 a.m. and I'd just be finally getting it up. And then I'd post it up and I'd be driving to work and I realized, oh, I misspelled something. So I got crap. So,
well, which is fine 13 years ago when Zoe was still a youngster, you could make the claim that she did it.
Yeah, no, that kid's been spelling better than me before she was like in kindergarten, I think. So, but no, yeah, I like the homework part. I do like the homework part of this because it is making me listen because you get kind of tunnel vision in podcasts. And what got me what broadened my horizon in podcasts there for a while was I'd hear a guest on a show, and then I would follow the cookie crumbs to their podcast, and I miss that sometimes with the modern age of podcasts. It's almost like you don't see that crossing of podcasts as much as you used to. Because kind of guys get in their circle, like you'll have like this Sith List and Bad Motivators and Blue Harvest and Steel Wars, and they kind of go in their own circle, but they don't venture out very often. And it's just, I understand why, because we're just creatures of habit. Like I ask so many people to come on a Wednesday, you would think I'm asking people to like trek across the desert because we all get set in our ways.
Yeah.
Because I would be the same way if someone said, "Can you be on the show on a Thursday night?" I'd be like, I'd probably him haul around too. So, you know,
maybe. I mean, I haven't been invited to many, so I don't know if I'd be able to say yes or no.
I'm always open for the forces behind Star Wars. So. How's your numbers on the Georgies?
I think it's lower than we normally have because one of the things I think that happened is normally when we promote it, it's just through, which is really weird when I say this out loud, so I apologize ahead of time. We mostly promoted it through the Star Wars podcast day,
right?
And it didn't seem to get as much traction as when we just post it. I mean, our episode before that one, the episode before the Georgies, we had about 7,000 views from what I understand. And this one, the last I saw was like 1.5 thousand. So I figured that we would have seen a bump, seen a spike or whatever, but maybe it's because everyone's, going through that list of 115 podcasts and they just haven't made it to us yet.
I still think what hurt the Georgies though is no YouTube presence.
Well, maybe because even without YouTube presence, like I said, the last one we've only posted on Facebook and or on iTunes or Spotify through Anchor.
Right.
So we've got the audio version.
I think you need that visual element.
Well, that's what we have on Facebook. That's just a visual.
Yeah, because I was trying to share it with friends. Everyone I know uses YouTube. I still have people that don't use social media. Like it's just I sent them a link. They're like, well, I don't use Facebook. Do you have? It's like, sorry.
Yeah. So I actually we're doing a special episode of The Forces Behind Star Wars tomorrow night. I'm actually going to interview Anthony.
Nice.
So I'm going to interview all the members of the crew because I think one of the great things about our show is we all have these unique stories that are connected to Star Wars. I mean, Anthony and Demetrius, for example, they both worked at Kenner for a while.
Right.
So the home of Star Wars action figures, and they know people who work at Skywalker Sound and have worked on various Star Wars video games, and um, Dexter is an artist, and some of the art that he does is Star Wars adjacent. And Steven lives out in Los Angeles, and hangs out with celebrities and does acting work and so on. So they all have these unique Star Wars connections, and I think we haven't taken the time to feature them, to say, hey,
yeah.
let's
That's good, because like I know them, but I don't know them. Like I know Anthony because but the other guys I don't know. I mean, I know them, but I'd be interested, especially living here in crap hole Pennsylvania. We don't really have I don't have a good story that's
Yeah, I mean, two of the hosts on our show have been to Skywalker Ranch.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would probably, I'd steal someone's right foot to get a chance to go out and spend time on the ranch. So
I'm gonna get me an invite one of these days.
I have faith that it'll happen.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my best.
Nah, do or do not.
But yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, that's yeah, I'm hoping when Zoe's out there permanently, then I get to visit a little more.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe you'll get invited to one of those infamous Lucasfilm picnics.
Yeah.
In the summer, and get to go to the ranch gift shop that only certain people get to go to.
Marty got a tour of that.
Yeah, that's another reason why I don't like him.
Well, see, me and Marty have this talk many, many times, and there was certain, like the 501st and the costuming groups I joined in 07. I think Marty was slightly before me, but that window of probably the inception of it to probably 2010, it was such a small group that you would get invited by accident. You know what I mean? They'd be like, well, we'd offer this to the XO, and you're like, well, there's only like 7 of us. Who wants to go? You know what I mean?
The other thing that Marty definitely, absolutely, positively has going for him is that he has a gorgeous costume that not everyone can pull off.
Yeah.
He has a costume that stands out in a crowd. I mean, yeah, you can have 700 TKs. I'm telling you, his one costume trumps 700 TKs just because of the nature of that costume.
Right. And he hates when he's not a braggart on his costumes, but the costume we're talking about, you can have 700 of those costumes, and his will be one of the top ones as well.
Yeah, and part of it is just because of how proficient he is in carrying it out.
Oh yeah,
well, he's not the person who just stands there like a hairy statue. I mean, he dances, he moves, he's got sound incorporated into that beast. So it's
and let's move right into costuming. Right.
That was a nice transition. I love what you did there.
Yeah, so let's move into our costuming, because I've been thinking about this costuming a lot since the Mandalorian trailer, and I've been printing our Mandos, right? So which reminds me, I got to check the one. I finally got the leg armor to print right. The upper leg armor, it kept giving me all kinds of headaches. So what I had to do was I printed a damaged one and a non-damaged one together. So each of us get 2.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Of the upper one. So you can choose, right? But that's what made them finally print. So now I have to do the other upper leg, and then I'm down to from the knees below. That's all I got to do.
Oh, that's awesome.
And my small printer is printing the cylinders, the loading cylinders.
Okay, they go around the boot.
Yeah, and I think there's one belt too. So I'm printing this each, I think 12 or something. I think there's 6, depending on what picture you look at. It looks like there's 6 or 7, and but I'm also going to take one. There's an Amish machine shop around here. I'm going to take one of those plastic ones and see what they'll charge me to make stainless steel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it's just a blank with some holes cut in it and a center drill. So if I say, look, I need 24 of these, what do they cost? If they're a couple dollars a piece or so, or aluminum or whatever. I'd want aluminum, probably stainless steel be too heavy. But if they're a couple dollars each, I'd be willing to get it.
Yeah,
Because
sign me up. I would
the
gladly pay
cost
for
of
those.
spray paint and filler, it would probably cost us that much to make them smooth.
Might even cost more
Yeah.
with the way that I fill and do all that stuff. Why does
So,
it take me 95 layers to do it?
but after watching that Mandalorian trailer, I'm like, man, as much as I have other things going on and I'm building, I'm like, I have to get these pieces done, because once season 3 of Mando is in full gear, I know I'm going to want some kind of Mandalorian. And I would say anyone that's watching this, which apparently right now, according to this, 0 people are watching it. You have to check out John Alpha Ignition from the Dad Batch. His custom Mando. It's a copper colored Mando.
Really?
And it is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And it looks, there's some custom Mandos where you're like, oh, there's custom Mandos. When you see him, you're like, is that a background character from the show? You know what I mean? Like it's just that, it's that. So, but that's, I was on a costuming working on weekend, because I just have a feeling Celebration is going to make me feel sad that I don't have a costume when I'm out there. And then I'm gonna probably go on a costuming binge.
Why don't you do your casual old man Han?
As much as that jacket is kind of cool, that jacket is ridiculously hot.
Oh, okay.
Like uncomfortable, because it's like a pleather.
Oh, so it just traps the heat in.
No matter when you wear it. Like I wore it in the winter, and I was sweating one time. I wore it in the winter when we went to see Destination Imagination. It was freezing outside. I had to take it off because the Han shirt was soaking wet, because it is the most uncomfortable thing to wear.
It's a sauna with sleeves.
Yeah, like I wore it to Celebration Chicago. I probably wore it 10 minutes, and I was like, I got. And I'm saying this to Safi while she's in 000. I'm like, I got to take this off. This is uncomfortable. Yeah. She was rolling her eyes in the costume.
Thankfully, you couldn't see it behind the lights.
Yeah. But no, I think I think about taking a costume Celebration. I've never traveled to England, and I don't want to. I want to make it as foolproof as possible.
Yeah.
Zoe's taken Sabine or Ahsoka. I don't know if you saw the pictures I posted. I sent you pictures of her.
I saw some of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's easy, because that's pretty much all soft goods. And then Safi.
What are you gonna do about the blasters, though?
There's no blasters on Ahsoka.
Okay.
He has the lightsabers.
I was still thinking of Sabine in my head.
Yeah. So I'd rather I have a feeling personally that she's going to love Ahsoka, but I think when she sees the people in Sabine, she's going to be very upset. I think she's going to miss wearing, because she's been wearing Sabine since she was in 7th or 8th grade. But
Costumer's remorse. You only can put so much in the luggage.
And then Safi's taking Ketsu, which she can basically fit that entire costume in Ketsu's helmet, and just wear the boots, because the boots just have the leg wraps. Because her Ketsu is 100% from Pro Props, or one of those, costume companies.
Oh, really? Okay,
Cosplay
cool.
Sky. It's 100% from that, except for the helmet. I just 3D printed the helmet.
That's cool.
Because
I made the vibro axe, right?
No, not Ketsu. Not Ketsu. I'm sorry. Fennec Shand. Ketsu, I'm not taking either. Because Ketsu's nothing without Sabine. If you don't have Sabine standing next to her.
Yeah, but you're gonna have all the Sabines. That's the thing.
That's true. I might have to talk to her about that. But
think about
Fennec
all the
is
folks
so
that
much
she
easier.
could get pictures with. They're
Either
probably
way,
not
I'll get
good.
her standing next to Amando. If she's Fennec,
Yeah.
she can stand next to Boba, and if she's and
and Din, I mean,
yeah,
you know that there's going to be a herd of both of those.
yeah.
And that's, speaking of, not to turn the attention to me, but I've paused my custom post Imperial Mando, because I really want to put time, effort, energy, and money towards the Pinto Din. I don't even want to waste a minute working on that, because I know, like we were talking about with spray painting, that's every little thing is going to, do that. And I want to make sure that I'm able to finish this Din so I can get 501st approved.
Well, and the guy that I bought the files from, it's Ape something design on Pinterest or something, which I think a lot of his files are copies from something else, but whatever. But he sells kits. He sells the kits for the whistling birds, where
Oh,
you hit a
really?
button and they all light up. And it's like $125 a kit. But I'm like, man, that might be $125 well spent.
You betcha.
So
Well, I don't think he had whistling birds in the
that's right.
in the Pinto.
He doesn't. You're right.
Yeah.
So then I don't have to spend $125.
Yeah, you just saved $125 that you
Yeah,
can
but I have
use
a feeling
on a
that-
resin.
I do have a feeling once I get this done, I'm gonna like, yeah, I'm probably gonna want that armor too.
Well, maybe. I mean, because we still have to figure out the amblin, plus the blaster that he has on his hip.
Yeah, well, I have that print. I have files for that, a really good file of that one. So and I have the rubies. For my costume, I'm probably going to do a rubies pistol.
Yeah, I have 2 of those for my post imperial, so I could probably just snag one of those and paint it up proper.
I might cast the rubies just to make a one-off, like cast it in sand, so I can Dremel out the handle and put wooden grips on it.
Oh, okay.
Like do a one-off or do a rubber one to so I can hand it to a kid and not have to worry about it breaking.
Well, the rubies won't break. The only problem with the it's both a problem and a gift. It's super light.
Yeah.
It feels weird to hold it.
Well, so I've seen people drill them and fill them.
What do you fill it with?
The one filled it with, it was like a slurry of sand and glue. And then they just filled it, to put some weight on it, so it would wear in your holster. Because the problem with those light guns, especially when you're armored up, it's hard to suit them,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but the costume thing, it just got me, I've been looking at pictures so like this weekend I worked on Vader. So I did a pre-fitting of all my Vader stuff, so I'm good on that. And I got to get the cape hemmed, which will be the last thing I do. Because even at 6'3", the cape still drags. And Marty was telling me, he said, you got to, as much as Vader's cape kind of drags a little bit, he said, you got to get that so it's just barely touching the ground.
Yeah, you don't want to step on it, and you don't want anyone around you to step on it.
Right. I don't want to step on it. But also, he said, when it puddles like that, it takes away from the look. And I trust Marty has that. Marty understands the form and the aesthetics. Like, I think in the CRL, it has to like just barely touch. So what I have padding in my shoulder. So what I'll do is when I take the picture, I'll take the padding out. It'll drop it down, get the pictures, and then when I put it on.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be hurt or hurt somebody by me falling on them.
Well, the other piece to it is, as silly as this might sound, you also don't want it to be to wear, all that dragging on the ground and picking up the con floor dust or road salt when you walk across parking lots and stuff. You don't want it to be messy. Right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do that, and then I worked on that one. I worked on our little tiny Mando bucket, but I don't know if I'm gonna get that done. I can't get these stupid print lines out of it. It's irking me. But I've been working on our miniature bucket. I have resin sitting there ready to cast. It's just I every time, like, I thought I had it smooth Saturday night, went up Sunday morning and I could feel the line. So I sanded it. It's just like this process, and it's probably the cold weather because the spray paint's not laying how it should. The wet sanding's, not.
Did you try the acetone Bondo trick?
I haven't, and I probably should have. So depending on how the weather is Saturday, I might do that, because I was doing fiberglass and with the garage door open, so I couldn't keep it warm. And the Bondo if you do it when it's really cold, it gets too brittle.
Gotcha.
So, there's a couple. Like, I watched a guy do talcum powder and resin, liquid resin from a liquid resin printer. He mixed it in, brushed it on, hit it with a UV light, and then that talcum powder filled in all the things. So I don't know. I think some people are just throwing, hey, I'll try, pickle juice. And
well, I've seen people use wood filler, and
Marty's a big wood filler
guy.
He gets good results, but the wood filler, which I could probably use for this little one. The wood filler to me doesn't seem like a permanent solution. I would never do wearable armor. This is my opinion. I could be totally wrong. I would hate to do a helmet with wood filler, do all that, paint it, and then just from the flexing of putting it on and off a few times, you start getting cracks or a big chunk falls off.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think
And
that's
it's
why
me
the
being
acetone and the Bondo work so well, because it makes it so it fits into the grooves a lot easier than smearing the schmutz,
Yeah,
across the print lines.
Yeah, so that's my, but I worked on that. I worked on the Cody visor. So the Cody visor right now it's all molded on top, and I did the mother mold, so it's I'll flip that over probably I'd say tomorrow, but we're going to see Ant-Man. So I'll flip that over Friday and finish the mold, so I'll be able to do Cody visors for the clone helmets I have.
Oh, nice.
So because I've had that visor forever and I cleaned it up, and it's just, but this is where people don't understand. I used a lot of extra silicone that I had laying around, like some samples and stuff like that. But when you weigh out the silicone, that Cody visor mold, and I could have made it smaller, but I was worried if I made it too small, then you have to play with it and keep it from being misshapen. So I made it nice and heavy, so it's a pour in, you let it sit. But if I made that with straight brand new stuff, that mold would cost me about $225 to make.
Wow.
For a visor that, you know how many visors I'm gonna have to sell to break even on
73 or so.
There he is.
Guy.
A man, the legend.
Happy anniversary, sir.
Happy anniversary, gentlemen.
Yes, this is the what is the 1 year podcast anniversary? Is that earbud? The earbud anniversary?
Tears. It's the tear anniversary.
Oh, okay.
Or it's either tears or sweat. I can't remember which.
Yeah. But yeah,
Year two is definitely blood.
Talking costume corner. So.
All right.
And I was talking my Cody visor will be ready to be poured starting next week. So if someone needs a Cody for a phase 1 animated clone, then they can Cody it up. Or they can, what's his face too? Commander Fox or any of those other commanders.
Yeah, Mike was saying that we were wondering when you were going to start talking about all the echo printing that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, Ken, I will tell you, being a 3D printer owner, they're always on your mind, and you always forget what you were supposed to be printing.
Yeah.
It's if I didn't have a dry erase board in my printing room, we would have one piece printed of Dinjarin.
The Pinto.
Yeah. My thing is I am just forgetful, and I have to be in the right state of mind.
Well, and that's with me, John. I had to literally make a dry erase board because I would be printing something and then I'd see something online. Oh yeah, and I'd buy it, and then I'd start printing this, forgetting that I had, like I still have IG-11 sitting in my garage that I totally forgot I printed until I saw them yesterday. And I spent like a month and a half printing that thing. I just forgot about it because I started printing something else.
How's your Boba Fett coming?
Yeah, Boba Fett's another one. Boba Fett's all printed sitting there. Except I'm waiting. Chris Freed has a Boba Fett helmet from RS Prop Masters or something like that that he's given me. So I'm going to use that for my helmet. So.
Yeah. Sorry, my mic is.
You sound good.
Yeah, you sound okay on this end. Now you're gone. Now you're silent.
Am I?
No,
No.
I'm just kidding.
Just move your mouth. Just move your mouth and freak everyone out.
Yeah, I don't think. Are you going for approval with Boba Fett?
I don't know. The Boba Fett thing is it drives me nuts because there's so many versions of that, and I like little pieces of each one. So mine might just be a mashup of Boba Fett. So like if I went for approval, I would have to start with the soft goods and then go because my Boba Fett is the only thing that I feel that's not right with I bought it from Galactic Armory. I feel like the gauntlets aren't right.
That's how.
because they're very big, which I know I can scale them down, but they're one piece. There's no seam.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to split them, and I just might look for a second set of gauntlets. But
Gotcha.
everything else, I think, like the helmet's all right, the armor itself, the backpack Marty printed for me, that I think might be a little large, because I but that's just every time I love Boba Fett, but then when I see Din Djarin, I'm like, that's it. Without getting in a big thing, but the costume of him, when I see it anywhere, I'm like, oh, that's such a cool costume. Like even when I see guys playing it in Fortnite, I'm like, oh, that's such a good costume. So, but yeah, Ken, I was telling Ken that I'm probably going to try to get the little round metal cylinders, the one that are around your leg, and in your. I'm going to take it to one of the Amish machine shops and see if I can get them cut out of aluminum. Just see what it costs. I mean, what's it hurt? The cost of spray paint, it's probably not going to be that much, cheaper than buying $10 filler and spray paint. Like I think it's like up to almost $8 around here for spray paint. So
yeah, I resin printed mine.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I could do it with my resin printer. I'm just like, if I can do something, I just for something different. But I right now my concentration is on Vader. My printers are doing that, but my concentration's on Vader.
As he's talked through 6 other things.
Oh yeah.
I just want to put that out there for the world to hear.
Well, Marty's coming over Sunday or Monday to help me do some strapping on Vader, like the helmet and stuff. Like make sure my helmet fits right, and because and then I have to decide what I'm gonna do with the belt buckle, because I have the 3D printed file and it looks good, but I'm like, okay, I got to smooth this thing out, and I see some people selling metal ones on Etsy. And I'm like, because that centerpiece, that the buckle.
Just be careful buying anything from Great Britain.
Why is
UK.
that?
Well, because I ordered a hat, an Imperial Officer hat, back at the end of the year, and still don't have it. So,
well, on top of that, since we're talking costume, you should talk to Marty about TK kit.
My dad's not going to build one.
Oh, okay.
The only reason he's going with an RS Prop Masters is because you can order a fully assembled kit.
No, but Marty has one that he was thinking of doing that same thing. Like if someone wanted to buy it, he bought one.
Oh.
Him and Dan bought one, and their plan was thinking of, if someone wants to buy it, how much, like what would they do if they wanted it fully fitted? So,
but your dad shouldn't get a TK until he gets his Narkina 5 costume done.
That's what I'm saying.
So we'll get any other armor builds before we go, because then we got to go to troop time, because we got to hear about your troop there, John.
Yeah, we got to highlight the fact that Ark is here finally.
But
haven't seen Ark in a while.
Any other builds?
Nope, not on my part of the world.
My Dejeric table is almost finished. I had to print the buttons, so next time you guys are over, you can play Dejeric with Chewie.
Nice,
right?
And you have all the figures too, right?
Not yet. I have to print I'm going to print the I think they're QR codes or something, and when you watch it through a Google augmented reality screen, they show up.
Oh, cool!
And then you move the little plastic chips, and they're animated.
They follow it. That's cool.
So I'm trying to keep, because we were just talking about getting sidetracked on printing. I'm trying to stay away from printing them. That's my goal to, at the end of the year, though Celebration took all my 3D printer money. By the end of the year, have a giant resin printer, and they would be the first thing I would print in resin. Print them like a translucent, and then do like a wash, so they had that like hologram feel to them. So
very cool.
That's my plan. All right, let's go to troop time. We need an intro.
Yeah, Ark is waiting to hear about this troop time.
Does anyone else have any troop time, or is it just me?
It's all you, dude.
Well, here, before we had the election, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, nice. You got the helmet printed. we have the election. So I voted. Hopefully everyone voted. And hopefully everyone's person wins. Unless it's someone I don't like.
Mine didn't. Mine didn't even accept my nomination.
Yeah. Were you the one that nominated me?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Well, you know what's funny though is if Justin wins because I'm friends with him, I am going to talk to him about when I see him in London or if I see him at Jordan's shop, I am going to talk to him and see if there's anything at the Legion level he needs from just like a little peon like me.
Well,
So,
what about public relations or podcasting?
Well, you can't be on. I don't think you can be on Legion Command at the upper level unless you were on Garrison Command.
No, I'm saying you get involved in that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What?
You can't get involved in podcasting stuff, or
no? I think John is better at that. John has a good podcast. I think John would be a good fit for the 500 First Cast.
I've already thrown my hat in that ring.
They don't need another old guy that says, back when I used to start trooping, you know. And then I was thinking of John saying how he can't believe I'm his dad's age because today I was complaining about a co-worker. We have this is terrible to say. We have paras, and I called them the old para because they annoyed me, and they were like, Hinton, she's younger than you. I was like, oh, damn it. Because I was trying to describe her. I was like, that old lady that they're like, yeah, you know she's younger than you. I was like, oh man.
Oops.
So life's a bitch, man. Anyway,
language.
So let's hear this, John.
We need to get a song for this.
So we had our we had 3 Night to Shine events in Ohio that we attended on Friday, which I learned while we were there that apparently a Night to Shine is a part of the Tim Tebow Foundation for those fellow sports fans. And it is a nationwide thing. So in all 50 states, there are, a Night to Shine events put on by the Tim Tebow Foundation. It's a prom-like experience for people 14 and older with special needs. So, yeah, we had the one that I went to. I mean, I couldn't see anything, but it was a really nice event. And then obviously I got to witness my dad dancing like a fool, and that was the highlight of that entire event. But yeah, it was a good event.
Now, did he dance like a fool just because he was in costume and it was uncomfortable to dance, or is it just that's the way he dances?
He doesn't dance, so I'm pretty sure it's just because he was in costume.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
He looked like he was having a blast.
He did. He 100% did. So he's already asking me when the next one is. So
I did one of those a couple years ago. They're a very nice event.
Mm-hmm.
Because they take all the good stuff about like a wedding when you troop a wedding or when you troop like a charity event, and you can see how it affects people like right there and then.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just but yeah, well, you know what was funny with your dad? When he started posting stuff up, you could see replies of his friends on Facebook that had they were like, I just remember it seemed like he shocked a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
So he's a believer now.
Yes, he is. And I told him, like, your comment sections on some of your posts are gonna be so just wildly different, because you're gonna have people who are in the horse world and you're gonna have people who are in the Star Wars world and a bunch of other corners of our little community here that we've built. So
I would love to talk to some of them who are absolutely positively surprised by this experience. Like, I never would have guessed that Big JS would do something like this.
I picture soon he's going to have his cards, with his picture on them. They'll be sitting on his desk,
Yeah, we're going to when the weather finally breaks, he and I are going to take some pictures for his cards.
Nice.
And hopefully by then, I'll finally have my officer hat so I can submit my pictures for approval for that. So
That's cool. I just was so happy for him, man. He just looked like he's like a natural. Like there's very few people that can pull off as a first costume a face character.
Right.
That's a tough one.
Well, think
And
about all the
enjoy it.
studying that he's done for it. Too.
Yeah,
Like he prepped.
Yeah.
He didn't just step into a pair of slacks and a cape. I mean, he plays the part, and that's I'm in awe of that.
Well,
The worst part is I couldn't even I wasn't even able to watch him because there were so many people where it's like, hey, I can't see a thing. I'm afraid I'm going to lose one of my day blades off my lightsaber. Please just keep an eye out for me. So he was the one who actually had to watch me the entire time because I was tripping on people were tripping on me. So it was just my vision is this, and
In a dark room.
In a
with
dark
strobe
room.
lights.
And it's a mesh screen, so you're already looking cross-eyed to begin with. So
now, what did he think of the overall experience? From meeting the people that you trooped with, because you had a good crowd there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he was surprised more so that everyone was so excited that we were there when we weren't even the main event.
Yeah,
we were just there with them, and obviously we're not the prom event, we were just in addition to, but everyone was so excited to see us when we came out. So yeah, it was he and I both had fun. So
now the big question: what did your mom think when she got the mission report from you guys?
Nerds.
I don't even know. I didn't even get a chance to ask her about it. So
now you need to write this up and submit it to the 501st podcast. You can just send it in. Just send it in from, because that's a good story. They want to, two things you do that and send it into Star Wars Insider. Because it's been a year since anyone in this house has been in the Star Wars Insider. So, I'm getting withdrawal.
Yeah. Are you passing the torch?
Yes, it's
metaphorically
you and your dad now. No, but I mean, this is what I always told Zoe. You have to self-promote, and when you have something cool to promote, just like you were saying, your friends that do horse and car and all this stuff that don't understand. We unfortunately put all of our hobbies in these silos, and you forget. Just as involved as we are in costuming, there could be a neighbor down the street that is that involved in bowling or that involved in roller skating in a roller rink. There is we still have, and we've lost that, crossing our culture or our leisure streams, but I would definitely submit something to them and Star Wars Insider.
I don't even know. Where would you submit that to Star Wars Insider?
Huh?
Get one of the issues, and there's an address right in there.
Yeah, well, there's also
a couple little sections.
Yeah, there's. Trying to think. It's usually in the front.
Well, the addresses are in the front, but the sections are typically scattered depending on the layout that month.
Yeah, but there's usually one for trooping and stuff. They usually follow trooping. Yeah, here we go. The bounty hunters. It's the bounty hunter section. I don't know. Here we go.
And nowadays, it might not even be an address. It might be an email address. You don't have to send a postcard or something with a self-addressed stamp envelope.
Yeah, when they did the guy did the story on Safi, I think. He did one on Safi. He just said, hey, just write up. And I'm not a good writer. I just wrote up stuff that happened and sent a crap ton of pictures to an email. But you guys are you're at the beginning stages of father and son ruling the galaxy.
I still think the four of us should do something for your horse charity.
Yeah. Do a calendar. You need a horse calendar with Star Wars characters. Because they do that around. No, but they do that around here for the
pets,
the
SPCA and stuff.
Yeah, the SPCA does them.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they'll
you
get
bet.
characters, and they do 12 months, and it's a whole photo shoot of the day with the characters, and everyone that is, I've never got to do one because it's usually on like a day I was doing something, but everyone that's done it has had such a great time because it gives them cool photos, because you get a local, either a member of your garrison that's a photographer, or the charity has a photographer or whatever, and a win-win.
And it could be one of those things that shows up on like local news or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to sell you on it or anything, but I'm just letting you know that Mike and I are willing to go to Ohio in costume to do something like that.
Yeah, imagine Chewie with a horse.
Oh my god.
Dude,
They wouldn't
we
know
should
what to
have
do with
Chewie
themselves.
next to a miniature horse. That
Yeah.
would be the best.
I'll do you
I
one
just-
better. How about our mini donkey
There you go.
or our mini
Yeah.
cow?
I'd like to see.
No.
I
We
think
need someone with Binks.
my next event that I want to see is when your dad meets Dan or Marty in costume.
I am trying everything in my power to get him to come out
On
next
the
month.
25th.
Yeah.
Because I just like I'm like slightly immune to it because I see it all the time. But man, when I first ran into, I think one of the first times I trooped with Dan up close was at a Barnes and Noble, and I was in my TK and I literally just stared at him the entire time. Like people were getting pictures. I was just standing there. So like people were getting pictures. I wasn't even acknowledging them. I was just looking at C-3PO.
Well, I mean, he is pretty dreamy. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And Chewie, I did the Mummers Parade was the first time I saw Marty's Chewbacca. And you literally could see the streets of Philadelphia turning to watch Chewbacca walk down the streets of Philadelphia. Half
Wow.
drunken, but they still,
Chewbacca or the crowd?
Well, I don't think Chewie was drunk. But and that if you would ask Marty, he hates that mask, the original mask. He hated that. He was like, that mask was garbage. So,
Wow.
and it still was like so good. So, yeah, that's all the troop time I got. But I was so excited to hear about your dad's.
Yeah, tell your dad we're so happy for him.
Yeah.
And you, we're happy for the both of you.
Yeah, we don't really know.
Yeah.
But
I've
if
been
you're-
there. This is number 7 for me.
If your dad is interested in a TK, talk to Marty because he has an Anovos kit. And I don't know if they were going to somewhat build it or not. The other thing is not to disparage any of the UK kits, but you have to be careful with some of those UK kits because some of them are basically like my FX kit.
Mhm.
And so
Well,
they're not accurate.
We saw in our Scott, one of our members, he actually Scott and Ian both have the hero and the stunt RS props kit.
Okay, good. Now,
So
does
we've
that have to
seen
be
one
painted?
up close. Nope.
Does that have to be painted?
Mm-mm.
Okay, good. So
So he's all on board for the TK, especially after seeing it. So, and he's telling me that I should just sell my Waltz kit and order an assembled kit, which isn't. If I wasn't,
listen, it's not as
unemployed
hard
in
to
2
assemble
weeks,
as you think.
I just can't cut it. I can't do it.
So
You can, you just choose not to.
listen, you start with the legs, so by the time you get to the stuff that matters, you're not going to screw
You
it
got
up.
practice.
And
And do it in the find someone who's done it before so you can do it
Yeah,
with them. So
find a
you're
local armor
you're
party
not flying solo.
because you score those. What's nice about that ABS is draw your line with pencil. Always draw the line and
Mhm.
snap it, and you'll be surprised. With a nice straight edge.
Sharp.
Nice sharp straight edge. But yeah, go to an armor party where someone can do the holding and stuff like that. And what's nice about you're a small guy, so you have you're not like with me, I had to leave a lot of plastic on the middle section. But when you're thin, you have to cut so much off, you can make multiple cuts.
Mhm.
Like you could just cut and then cut, and you just need something to fit it with you. And you, like I say, you start with the lower legs. Because the lower legs, you just cut the front and get that strip on. The back you leave on until you're ready to trim it, and you can you'll be surprised how quick it goes. And what's nice about Waltz is he does sell pieces. So if you really butcher up a piece, the main things you don't want to mess up are the shoulder bells and the top chest piece. The rest is not seen. It's not noticed right away. So,
and I'm gonna bet that you didn't buy it just to keep it in the box. I mean, you bought it with the intention to hack up and actually wear.
Right.
And please know that I'm saying this out of encouragement, not out of ridicule or pressure.
And please know, I have 2 in the box that I still haven't opened up yet. So,
well, you have 2 kits that are already assembled too. So
that's true. It did take me 6 years to finish my Sandy. Because
I feel a little better.
I was in the same boat as you because I didn't really know Marty that well when I first got it. I bought my Sandy. I was probably a year in, and someone had, it was a B grade, and he wanted $300 for it. And back then the prices were way higher at a certain point than they are now because there was only like 2 or 3 makers in the whole world. And so I bought it, and I was just so afraid to start that first cut. So what got me into cutting it was I watched Trooper Bay. I watched Trooper Bay videos over and over and over and over again. I was like, yeah, I think I can do that. And I didn't mess it up too bad, to be honest with you. So
got approved, right?
Not in the Sand Trooper. I haven't submitted that yet.
Wait, you haven't?
No. I like keeping it for, you know what? Right now, I use it for droid builders because I wore it to an event with the droid builders, and some people were I think they were trying to get me in trouble because I wore an unapproved costume. I was like, what's that mean? I'm not, or no, because I showed up at an event and didn't sign up. I was like, it's not a 501st costume, and I'm here with the droid. So you know what I mean? So it's kind of nice.
How about you mind your own business, buddy?
Huh?
How about you mind your own business?
Yeah,
Move along,
it was kind of one of those deals.
Sheesh.
So, yeah, I just have to submit it. I think, I'm trying to think what I have to do to submit it. I think I just have to adjust the ammo pack, and I think that's all I really have to do for approval on that.
As we slip back into costume corner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we slipped back into costume corner. So, but yeah, I'm very happy for your dad. That was awesome. So,
yeah, I can't wait until I get my officer put together. So then we can go as director and deputy director Krennic.
I think you should get the guy from Andor, the cereal guy. You know
Yeah. You got to remember though, with these soft good costumes, I am just there. We go. Now we're back in the right place.
There we go.
I can't sew for anything.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think the next costume that I will work on is I got to get my Ben Solo done. I've got everything I need a new pair of pants because the ones that I got from Marty they fit the legs, they do not fit the waist.
Wait a minute, which ones?
The leather pants.
Oh, they don't.
For Kylo. What? I've been wearing I have to wear a comically large belt in order to keep those pants on. Because they fit up to like right here, but then anything past the middle of my thigh is just like way out here.
Oh.
So I need to get a new pair of pants.
Can you just go to like Hot Topic and get some of their pleather pants?
No, I'm gonna get them on Amazon so I can get the cheap Chinese made ones.
Oh, okay.
Where they're like $30 as opposed to $150.
Well, in that case, you get 2 pair.
Yeah,
exactly.
One for costuming and one for casual Friday.
Now you're thinking. But yeah, so I already talked to my seamstress, my local seamstress. She's gonna do the good boy sweater for me, and then I just need to get a reforged saber, and I will be done with Ben Solo.
Nice. Yeah, I want to stay with costumes that cover my face.
Yeah, see, I agree. I needed something for Rebel Legion. So, and that Ben Solo was the easiest because I already have everything from the waist down.
Now how's he fallen to?
Good boy
Well,
sweater, man. He
How
turned back
how
to the
does
light.
Din fall into the 501st? I mean,
Well, that's true.
they're just. I think every one of these they're just picking up where they can, and they're planting their flag and staking claim.
Yeah, I guess Din falls under bounty hunters.
Ben Solo went back to the light side.
Yeah, no, right. But I'm saying Din, because now when you said that, I was like, because I know the first big kerfuffle with costumes was the clones.
Mm-hmm.
Rebel Legion wanted them, and the 501st wanted them, and there for a while there was a battle of CRLs, and
Battle of non-consistent CRLs.
well, or you would have like it was almost like one group would not pass someone that was already in the other group just to show they were better. Like, oh, you're an approved Rex in the 501st. Well, you're not approved with us.
That's just a CDM if you think about it.
A what?
For those a CDM, classic dick move, like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and this I guess this fits in Costume Corner. There's been the long standing debate of should all the costuming groups come under one umbrella. Like they and me personally, I don't want to see that, only because I do feel like each group serves its own purpose in a fun and enjoyable way.
Oh, I agree. And can you imagine some of the people that we know that are associated with these groups? Can you see some of them attempting to perform what other, like for instance, Saber Guild?
Right.
I have friends in all the different. I can't see some of the folks who've created incredible Mando costumes being responsible for judging someone's technique in phony sabering.
Right.
Or somebody who's involved in phony sabering being able to critique a TK accurately and consistent. I mean, yes, there are some individuals who can, because they bounce in between all those costume groups, but as a whole, no.
Well, and I think, like, if you want a unified CRL, I would be fine with that. Like if you said every Din Djarin should fall under this, and it goes across Mando Mercs, 501st, Rebel Legion. I completely understand that. I just think the groups themselves have not different missions, but they cater to a different group of people.
Yeah, you bet. Even just the mentality. I mean, think about the 501st's mentality.
Yep.
They broadcast bad guys doing good.
Right.
So the people who sign up know that they're representing the bad guys, whereas folks who sign up for the Rebel Legion know that they're representing the quote unquote good guys, and they have that kind of mentality around it. What it would require, however, which I think would be an absolute wonderful thing, is it would require honest, genuine collaboration instead of this trying to one up the other group or be condescending to the other group. It should just be this shared mutual respect for the costume and the people who want to wear this costume out there in the public for everybody.
And I think a lot of areas do it well, and a lot of areas do it poorly. So because it can be done. I mean, the Mando Mercs. I was there when the Mando Mercs were pretty rough. Like their costumes were pretty rough. Like when I first started the 501st, the Rebel Legion and the Mando Mercs, I believe, were still in their infancy, and some of them were like, you would see Rubbermaid armor that was cut from a Rubbermaid tub, and you could literally see like the indent from where the lid clipped in or something. Like it was, But they've I think all as costuming goes, I think all the groups are pretty, other than just the nitpicking stuff, are pretty decent with their standards.
Yeah, they've increased with the access to the technology to do this stuff. and the resources. I mean, back then when folks were making Rubbermaid costumes, it's because they didn't necessarily know about the expanded PVC that was available,
Oh
or
yeah, yeah.
we didn't. It was pre-Amazon and all of that kind of stuff. We live in was the platinum age of costuming, where you can have access. I mean, John was talking about ordering a hat from England, and stuff from China, all from the beauty of his computer chair.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean that's and when I think when the groups, I don't know much about Dark Empire. I'm sure they're wonderful, but I know a little bit about Saber Guild and Mando Mercs and Droid Builders and Rebel Legion and 501st. And I feel when we all come together, it makes it even better. Like when you have 7 or 8 good guys, 7 or 8 bad guys show up, and some droids and some Mandos, it looks so much better.
Yeah, especially when they have this willingness to just be nice to each other.
Yep.
This willingness to have fun and recognize that they're recreating this phony baloney property, and folks are enjoying it. The folks who are making it are enjoying it. The folks that are seeing it are enjoying it. Instead of standing, off in various corners of the
Don't
room
cross
saying,
this line.
"Yeah, I can't be seen with those fools. Are you kidding me?"
Well, and what's nice, the Mando Mercs were ahead of the game in this regard. The Mando Mercs, at least around here, their displays at cons were so nice. Like, 10, 15 years ago, it was cool to see a rack of Star Wars weapons. But now, anyone with the cheapest 3D printer can print any of those.
Yep.
So it's just neat to see people in costume. Even at Celebration, I was sad to see the one display was just a bunch of mannequin costumes, which I know why they do it, but the better displays is when people want to wear their costume.
Well, think about what they did at Anaheim and Orlando, where the Mercs had this whole setup, even to the point that they had a full size speeder. Like that was ridiculous, and the Mandalorian throne and stuff.
Yeah,
like
they
that.
had like the throne room, the speeder, and the prison
all in one setup,
all in one thing. But it was, you had to walk through a door, like you actually had to go into their set to get to the throne. So, oh, thanks, Anthony.
Hey, good to see you, Anthony.
Yeah, so that I mean, that's where I think the Mando Mercs and the droid builders are always that way too. The droid builders were so good at making like those droid rooms in all the celebrations. Like they were more than just a whole bunch of droids lined up. I mean, parts of them were, because you can only do so much with 50 astromech droids, but they had these nice dioramas and stuff like that.
Yeah, the little photo spots. I remember the one year they had BB-8 strung up in the Millennium Falcon that you could get.
Yeah, they had that in Chicago, and I think they didn't have it in LA. They had it in Orlando too, I think. They might have had it in Orlando. I don't think they had BB-8 strung up, but they had that hallway. And then this year they had like Jawas tearing apart droids and Ugnaughts working on droids and stuff.
I still have to get your pictures from the Mandalorian experience. I keep saying it. I got to get that thumb drive.
I thought I put them in Google Drive. I don't know. I'll have to look. But yeah, I mean, that's the Mandalorian experience is exactly that's a nice carbon copy of what the Mando Mercs have been doing for years. With displays and
Yeah, the only thing that makes it a little bit cooler is their stuff actually showed up on TV.
That's true. But see, some of the droid builders, their droids showed up too.
Yeah, some of the droid builders actually got their jobs because of the droids they made and showed up at Celebration.
Yeah. Well, Kurt Zimmerman's droid, his turquoise one that's it's made like an Art Deco. Did you ever see his?
Yeah.
It was basically copied for the one animated series. They made one that looks almost exactly like it.
Oh, wow. Oh, Anthony gave us another nice compliment about
thank you, Anthony.
About the Georgie Awards.
I did realize on the Georgie Awards, I was like, why do I look like the Crypt Keeper? And then I was like, oh, I don't have any lighting. I have to get one of those like ring lights that all the influencers have, because my lighting is so bad. I have no lighting. I'm like, no wonder I look 100 years old. I'm gonna get the Lifetime Achievement Award next year because that's usually like the year before you die. You know, they're like, you know,
Well, let's hope not. We just gave an award to Wilbur Hood. He'll never die.
that's true too.
And we
Spoiler
definitely
alert.
Oh yeah, well, hey, come on, Anthony, we need that thing on YouTube.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know. I wanted to watch it before we shut the theater down. I wanted to throw it up on the big screen, but I couldn't figure out how to cast it from Facebook.
Yeah, we gotta definitely tip our hats to Anthony, Steven, and Dexter for all the work
Yeah,
that they did for the Georgies.
That was excellent.
I mean,
Yeah, that was
from Anthony's scripts for all of us, Dexter's incredible
yeah.
art, and all the hosting and special stuff that Steven did, man.
Well, my lighting, I do have an excuse. If the girls are playing video games on the room on the other side, they turn the basement lights on, so I do lose some lighting. So yeah, that was definitely a lot of fun.
And hopefully Anthony realizes that we've put together a list of 3 or 4 things that we'd like to add to the Georgies for 2023.
Yep.
All because of the work that they did on it this year.
I also think we need a nomination day, though. You need to let the people, you gotta give them a little taste, like they do. They'll be like, "What?"
Well, nomination day, and I think we should do a fan award.
Yeah, definitely.
Fan favorite award, whether it's fan favorite animated thing, fan favorite character, fan favorite moment, whatever, just to see what comes back. So the 12 people that listen to this thing, and the 2 people that listen to the Rambling Star Wars fan, and 150 or so that are checking out the Beskar Bucket.
But now next year it should take place at Death Valley, and then he should run through Death Valley at the beginning of all the locations.
Well, we could do Endor, the Forest of Endor.
Yeah.
Because that would be right up there with the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully next year, Zoe and I are both out in California.
So yeah, I heard you guys you're scheming and planning.
Attempting to. So maybe we can, team up with Steven and get some good
Steven's
shots.
Gonna have two hobos living on his couch.
Well, you can take turns. I mean, Demetrius is out there too.
Oh,
that's true. We can just rotate.
They'll show up to talk about the Georgies and never leave.
They'll show up. Do you have a moment to talk about the Georgies? And they won't go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, we'll continue this in the morning. Is it okay if I just crash here on the couch?
Yeah. It's too far to get back to Magic Jump tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's gonna be a lot of fun. That's
that was an undertaking, and it was one of those moments that I will cherish for a very, very long time. The way that the Georgies came together.
Wow, 1,500 people have watched the Georgies. That is insane. Again,
if you throw it up on YouTube, I'm gonna promote the crap out of it with other stuff. But I need a YouTube link, But
well, with the YouTube, one of the things I think we should definitely do is see if we can get folks like Matt Martin and Matt Mickelson. Is it Matt Mickelson? Yeah, some of those friends of ours. That's the kind of stuff.
Something when I'm in London, I can show people. Because if it's like when we were in LA or when we were especially in Chicago, I just hung out and talked nonsense with people till like 3 a.m. while Hip Hop Trooper and his menagerie was dancing in the hotel. I think we violated every fire code in whatever hotel that was. But we just sat there, and it was like people just took turns getting different seats. Okay, I gotta go to bed, and then they'd show up later. Oh, I'm back. And I was the only one not drinking. Half of them were like half loaded, but I was like, oh, here's my kids' podcast, and here's my, because I'm going to network in London. That's my,
Are you bringing more postcards?
Smart.
Huh?
Are you bringing more postcards?
I'm bringing all kinds of stuff. I'm bringing her cards. We have, isn't as good as the last. Yeah,
Ooh.
you know what though, Anthony, I only disagree with you on that. The Georgies is because I think the Georgies is going to be someone's gateway drug to your podcast. You know what I mean? Like, because the hardest thing to get someone to listen to your podcast is it's not hard to get someone who never listens to podcasts to try it, but we all get in these podcasting ruts of listening to stuff, and I think the Georgies is like that perfect hook to get you into that, because you learn that there are people just having fun, a tongue in cheek with Star Wars, and that's what people want. They want their Star Wars to be fun. I mean, I'm
Well,
sure.
and I mean, I can't brag about it enough. I mean, the way that Anthony and Steven and Dexter put all that together, that was by far our most produced show, and it was apparent that a lot of care and love went into that thing.
And I was petrified I was going to be the one that screwed it up. I was like, I was hoping someone else would have done something worse than I did.
I feel that one.
I was like, please don't let me be the one that, does whatever this phantom thing I don't know what's going to happen does.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think yours truly is more likely to do that than the two of you.
Now, see, that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to try to live stream from Zoe's podcast from London. I just got to make sure I have my international plan turned on so I don't return to a extremely
$900 bill.
Yeah, phone bill.
Yeah, let's bring it.
Yeah, here, let me see.
Yeah, come on in, Anthony. We'd love to chat with you.
I think I got to send him the link in Facebook.
Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, just put up a random image as your background and leave your camera off.
But you don't like having a conversation, having to type everything? That's what usually I give up and just like, let me just call you. Let me see if that. I sent it to you in Facebook. See if that jumps on there.
I'm still amazed that we've been going at this for 50 plus weeks.
I know, right? I'm.
And
I
again,
think I am
we've
wearing the
only
same
missed a
shirt and the
few.
same hat.
Well, yeah, I think maybe two, because I still count the ones where we got together for the Buskar Bucket, or when you guys came on to the Forces Behind Star Wars for our year in review. I still count those in the weeks of us getting together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this
In
was
that case,
all
I don't-
because you wanted to practice something.
Right. And Zoe has really never used this yet. So
In that case,
Yeah,
I
we
don't
got a
think we've
camera.
missed anything.
Hey.
wait, we can't hear you.
Please, you're again. Wrong.
He's singing. He's serenading. Happy anniversary song.
Oh, we
Uh-oh.
lost.
What were you saying, John, before I interrupted you? I apologize.
I don't think we've if that's the logic we're using, I don't think we've missed
Anything yet?
any weeks.
There we hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I think we got a delay for you. Are you in another country?
I am in another country.
Oh.
Let me see.
There we go.
Is that better? A little better?
Yeah, you got like a couple second delay, so we'll just pause when you talk. So
Let me switch. Just give me a second.
Sure.
I'm two.
Gone again.
So one of the things, speaking of our year anniversary, I'm curious to hear what your favorite parts of the year have been. And I don't mean like specific things, but just from a general standpoint of doing this for the year. What have you enjoyed most?
it
that a
makes
question?
my Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can answer from the question or from the perspective of a fan. What have you enjoyed about listening to our show?
I don't know how you just keep coming up with stuff all the time. It would just continually talking. I think you guys do a fantastic. I mentioned it before. I think because that's part of the job. Just interesting. It's difficult. But can I talk about the Georgie? That's why. So
And we're losing you, Anthony. We're getting like every other word.
let me turn off the camera. Maybe it'll
Okay.
help.
Okay.
It doesn't help.
Well, we hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I did talk about the Georgies. As you, I think that I do agree. It's the gateway drug. It's very different than what you see other shows do. Seen some award shows that I watch on YouTube that are very. I think Steve took it to another level. You know, and John up and Dex had the Georgie, which we have to 3D print some. That's a that's a good talent. But having an award show nominations.
Hang on. We're losing you again. I'm still getting like I'm getting like 3/4 of your words. So, but you were talking about 3D printing and doing it's just like you're still cutting out. I don't know. Do I have to change? I don't think I have to change any settings here.
Maybe I'll just
Check.
go back to the type.
Let me see. Hang on. Let me see if I can. It doesn't really let me. Yeah, it doesn't let me. I was thinking.
One of the things I definitely picked up on what he was saying is we have to. He thinks it'd be a great idea to have the nominations, like you were saying earlier, Mike. This idea of here are the categories and who's nominated this year. So put that out there a couple weeks in advance so that folks, have a sense of who's on our list.
Right, and I agree with you, Ken. The fan thing, but I often wonder: do we also think of a category to bring in, like, a fellow podcaster? Like, do we do just because part of podcasting, which I know I forget sometime, but a lot of podcasters forget that the growth of podcasting is we all are helping each other. Like that's the where the podcasting community is the strongest, where we're not competing against each other. We're having show X, Y, and Z on our show. And then it's the same thing as I said earlier. That's how other people find out about you. Because
is that something that we all of us just recently participated in Star Wars Podcast Day 2023.
Right.
And there's a list of, 115 or so shows that were on that. Is that something that we partner with them in terms of maybe our fan choice is favorite podcast?
Yeah.
And then we have one of those, whether it's Daniel, the guy who organized Star Wars Podcast Day 2023, he could be the guest announcer for that particular category, and we could record it at a different time and just insert it into the show.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what because when I listen to a podcast and they have a guest on, and I see their interaction, that if it's a positive interaction, I'm like, well, look, I like podcast X, and they had this guy from podcast Y, and they seem to have a good time, so I might have a good time listening to podcast Y.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people out there like us. It's just we sometimes get tunnel vision on what's out there.
It's sort of like Battle of the Networks.
Yeah, yeah. Now that's showing your age there, Anthony, too.
Yeah.
That networks,
there were 3 networks.
TV shows before you were born.
I think next year the Georgie get a little more forces behind, because reaching out and growing the fan base. Put out a podcast, and it either don't watch it. We have no idea why. It's just the attract people more. I mentioned in that text was about a month and a half ago, which was end of the year show. That's 2022, and I think that's just that's something that we own a company learning how to use those keywords, article views and things, and it's I don't do it, but the team does it. But I about that, and I think actually post the Georgies again, because part of we're using a tag, and none of this we're using a tag called Star Wars, and it's in when people watch Star Wars podcast all at once, right? To sort of be the get watched a lot. So you have to sort of
well, we should have also given like all of our shows an award, so then we could have been an award-winning podcast show.
And not just sponsors of categories.
Yeah. You know, the award for the most people that attended for a show. You know, I don't know. But no, I mean it's all of the award shows. Like nowadays aren't as important as maybe they were in the olden days, but they are kind of fun to just see people celebrate. And then I think we took it to another level of not being goofy, but being like silly about it in a respectful way.
Yeah, kind-spirited and honoring. Like it was truly honoring the stuff that came to us for 2022. You know, and it was I still to this moment am amazed at how well it came out based on how much time we gave to it. You know, so it was.
I have been on work where every word that you read is script comes off very polished, but it also comes flat. I've been on podcasts like the ones that pick up as we go along. This one, and some is good, and that was kind of a habit of both. We hadn't rehearsed. It was very, very fun. Like the award.
Well, you know, this reminds me, Ken, of when we did the live Shakespeare Star Wars. Remember that?
Okay.
Absolutely. That was also not rehearsed. It was that was we talked about it and we just went with it. And I think there's some beauty in that. There's some natural beauty in that of we're having fun, we're respecting the material, and we want to share it with other people. And I think there's something magical about that. And when it's done with those things in mind, how can it fail? Truly.
Yeah. And we have Dr. Mad Studios.
All the way from England. Yay, we got a Briton in the house.
Yeah, I have to get my little book when I go over to London to help me with the language. You know, I don't want to call something the wrong name.
Yeah, don't say that you're gonna root for somebody. That's Australia. Never mind.
Oh,
Mike, one of the funny things, just awarding the podcast. I was talking about this with my son. Who decides someone else an award when you think about it? Right? Like, why not us? Like,
right.
Why would anybody have a better award? Means more or something. It's a really silly.
Hey, and I'll dig up my sidewalk and put a Georgie in it. You know, we can do like a Georgie Walk of Fame. You know, and charge them like $100 a year maintenance.
people don't realize that the Emmy Award, there's right, so you can't win, and of course that costs.
We're translating for you, Anthony. You're cut. Did you move further away from us?
Oh my God! I'll go back on the text. I try. Oh, I'm just using my laptop. I don't know.
No, some come in and then it's almost like
Yeah.
it's. I need the beep sounds. We could just make it like it
Like you're
almost
swearing
sounds
at
like
all
you're
of us.
profanity. I was talking to my beep son, and
I swear, I'm next to my route working.
Northwest Britain, not far from Liverpool, where the Beatles came from. But how close are you
There's a museum.
to any Star Wars thing? That's my question.
You're never far away from.
So Anthony, I'm going to get to hang with Anthony in London. I hope, hopefully more than I did in LA.
Andrew, we have Kirby back.
Nice.
Xavier, we have a crew.
Well, I'm bringing both my kids, so
That's going to be people the same age, so we can leave them hanging out.
And I was saying earlier, I think Zoe's going to be disappointed she doesn't have her Sabine, and I know Safi's going to be disappointed that she doesn't have 000. But there's unless someone wants to fly me a private jet, there's no way I can take 000.
And John and I are going to be disappointed that we didn't go with you. Just saying, right, John? I don't want to speak for you, but
I just paid my airfare. It's not nearly as glamorous as it sounds.
It wasn't as bad as I was. It wasn't a bad airfare.
No, it wasn't bad, but I had to, because of timing, I had to take a Wednesday night flight and then I, have a layover because all the direct flights I wouldn't have got in until Friday morning. And since she's part of the agreement to do on the podcast stage, you have to agree to be there every single day. Wow. And so I didn't want to get there at 7:30 in the morning and her have like the first thing in the morning podcast on the stage.
4-hour drive from Liverpool.
Yeah, there we go. Well, now I'm going to go due to being too.
Yeah, well, Dr. Med's studio can watch Celebration on YouTube with the rest of us.
Yeah, with the live stream. I'm hoping that Jordan goes. I was talking to Jordan, but he hasn't gotten any word from Lucasfilm. They always do it last minute, the Lucasfilm end of it. So I don't know what stages they're running. Maybe I'll just be on their big.
A lot of pictures this year. I have take pictures. My niece wants to take pictures.
I heard my niece wants and then it cut off.
I'll go back to text. Let me go back.
We're trying, man. We're trying. Yeah, I think Zoe wants to hang with your niece. And Safi too. Safi's weird. Not weird, but when she goes to cons, Safi's like super shy until you get her at a con. Then she's a totally different person. John's met her. John, she's just
selective.
That's just how she is. Well, that's like her people. She's always said since she was little that she feels most at home at like cons and stuff. Oh, really? Yeah, I've never been to England, so I'm excited, but I also know that I probably will not see anything other than the 10-minute walk from my hotel to the con. I just know how I am. Oh yeah, there is a good list of photo ops. But your niece could probably go meet Brendan Wayne. I'm gonna say something that's gonna get me in trouble with Star Wars fans. But they have the pictures of Pedro with his helmet off. He doesn't look like the Mandalorian in the armor like Brendan Wayne does. I lost you, John. Now we can't hear John. What's going on here?
We've just gone into another dimension.
And we're not going to get an award from the Georgies if we just keep falling apart like this.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're
one
back.
year, and this is where we are. Geesh, we gotta step up our game.
I know that's blasphemy, and I've become some fairly friendly with Brendan Wayne, but he has a stance in that armor.
Well, I think it'd be funny when people go to a Star Wars Celebration and ask Pedro to autograph their stuff as Joel.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the person he talks to.
For a long time, probably.
They're gonna be in line getting all this Mando stuff, and then he would take, someone will take something from here. Will you sign
Game
my
of Thrones
Bus video game or something like that? Oh, cool. That's cool. Yeah, we'll have to check him out, Dr. Mad Studio. Yeah, his voice does make. I'm not saying Pedro. I think the way they have the Mando, the way those three people create Mando, I don't think we would have Mando if we didn't have those three people.
And they all seem to genuinely respect each other's contribution to the character. It's not as if, I don't mean to point fingers, but there have been some celebrities who claim to be the fill in the blank character because of their contribution, even though other people were involved in it.
And the first stink when I was a little kid, I used to read about David Prowse and some of his arguments with people about being Vader. Like in the 70s and 80s, like he had a whole, because he didn't do all the and when you hear these three guys and when you listen, and again, I'm especially a Brendan Wayne zealot because I've listened to so many of his interviews and talked to him a few times. But he seems so respectful of not only the character but the other three people. Like he makes sure he always points out that it's just not him.
Oh yeah, and I'll even go a couple steps further with Brendan. Not only will he talk about the other actors, he'll talk about the lighting guy. He'll talk about the camera woman.
Oh,
he'll talk about the
and he'll drop their names.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful, and I think that's one of one of the many things I love about Star Wars is not only do you get to know about the character, the phony character that shows up on screen, and the people who portray them, but animators become important, carpenters become important, makeup people become important, script writers become important. So it's this whole thing, and they've been doing that since the beginning, letting you see behind the curtain, letting you know who these people are. So if you want to be involved in this, you could become someone who does something like Phil Tippett or Dennis Muren or John Williams or Mark Hamill.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that in Celebration, just being back into that whole, Then I'll come home and we'll have to start building Mando armor.
Hey, Dr. Mad Studios, when you met David Prowse, did you ever talk to him about the Green Cross Code guy being the Green Cross Code man?
Oh yeah.
He had that big thing in the late 70s, early 80s where he was involved in this PSA across England to help minimize pedestrian accidents. One of the many costumes I haven't finished is my Green Cross Code man.
Right after Slim Goodbody?
Yeah, I don't think I'll be slim ever again, unfortunately, as much as I try.
Wait a minute. It says, what do you think of the new Mando clip?
I didn't know there was a new Mando clip.
I didn't know there was a new Mando clip. I was too busy watching the Bad Batch.
Yeah, I saw it on Instagram. It's
what was the clip? Explain it to us, John, like I've never seen it before.
Well, it's Mando and Grief Karga, and then Grogu sitting there spinning in a chair, and
like a computer chair. Or?
Yes, like an office chair. And
are they going to make him like adolescent Groot?
Probably. It's from what it seems. But yeah, so he's spinning in the office chair, and then Mando stops it, and then he uses the Force to get a piece of candy off of Grief Karga's desk.
I'm already in love with it, and I haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I mean, I'm glad. I know they got a lot of like headaches from the Book of Boba Fett when they had those 2 Mando episodes, but I am so glad when he got back with Mando, because it was hard for me to watch that. I know it's one of John's favorites, but it was hard for me to watch that last episode when Grogu was taken from Mando, because it happened at the same time where my girls were going off to college, and you know what I mean, and it was just hard.
Well, one of the things I'll say is I'll encourage you to change your phrasing. Instead of saying that when he was taken, when he left with.
When he was kidnapped by some space wizard that
with a light
couldn't even
stick.
follow through his Jedi training and took weapons into the cave that he shouldn't have taken. No. When the clan of 2 was split up because some space wizard took him.
Some whiny space wizard who just wanted some power converters from Tashi Station.
Yeah. He still didn't get those power converters. It's just, I was so happy. There's just certain episodes are hard for me to watch, and that was one. And the one where he gives Grogu up, at the first time in season 1, even though I know he's going to rescue him, pretty quickly, it still gets me, man. It's still, I don't know, that they did such a good job making me care about that guy.
Well, not even just care about that guy, care about a puppet. Let's call him what he is.
Yeah,
he's a puppet made of fabric and latex, and maybe some glass eyes and some wiring, just like in Andor when we cared that somebody flipped over a robot
that looked like a trash can.
That looks like a trash can, or when we get sad because of an episode of Bad Batch, and they're not even any other than the voices. There's nothing real about them.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. It's good. It's all good Star Wars land. We got John in the 501st a year ago. So we're a year in. Let's think back a year ago. Think of something similar to our end of the year thing. Let's think of something that I should have watched our show. But I wonder if there's anything that we just totally got wrong.
There's a lot that we've gotten completely wrong.
I'll put myself on the altar and say I got it wrong about Marva.
Yeah,
I was thoroughly convinced that Marva.
I was
survived.
with you on that one
because I thought I was pretty convincing with my explanation and reasoning behind it.
I was even on another live podcast on Facebook, fighting that same fight. And then I had to eat my word. I just had to jump in the next week and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I was totally wrong." And I didn't blame you, Ken, but I was,
Were you in that fight since you were 6 years old?
Yeah. Yep. 6. No, but I was wrong in the sense that I never. If someone would have told us that first week, a year from now you'll be doing 50 plus shows, I would have been like if someone would have said, "Hey, you guys might do this 3 more times this year," I would have been, I could see that happening. Well,
I think we were wrong about that, and just wrong about how long we can get each show to last. And Anthony kind of mentioned it when he came on, and was talking with us a bit ago, saying that he's impressed with our ability to get together each week and talk about so much stuff without necessarily repeating it over and over again. And it's fresh, it's different, it's deep, it's comical, it's genuine. I think that's one of the things I'm most impressed with what we've been able to do over the past year, and not just do it week by week, but just the sheer hours. We've recorded over 100 hours worth of stuff.
Yeah. And this will be a short show and we'll still be over 2 hours long.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, John has merch behind him.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, if you'd have told me a year ago, both my dad and I would be in the 501st, I would probably laugh in your face.
I think we had a discussion about your dad trooping at one
yeah, we
episode.
have to go back and find that episode and replay that.
And
that
you were
little
basically
piece.
like, no.
Right.
Well, even you, John. I mean, you started a podcast of your own from
Yeah.
like springboarded from this to that.
Yeah.
With superstar interviewing power, John. I don't say that lightly. Like if you take your podcast, it's hard to believe that you've only been doing it for such a short time. Okay, you have the knack.
Thank you. I have to get better at taking compliments.
Yes. Well, that's
Well, at least this time you didn't fight it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I deal with this at school all day, and the people who deserve praise have been taught to be humble, and the kids who really don't need praise, you got to praise them for everything. Oh, you showed up today. Yay. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and who knows? Maybe a year from now, you will be in California.
I hope by the end of this year I'm in California.
Well, I'm like with Zoe and hers, I'm at that weird place where she's not, I can give advice, but not orders.
Mm-hmm.
And as a parent, your dad will probably tell you the same thing. That's a hard transition to make.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we're hoping when Zoe just had an interview today at the one film place in Lidditz that does like music videos. They just did a Justin Bieber video. They were just working at the Super Bowl. So she just got her interview / independent contractorship with them today. So hopefully that gives her a little kick in the butt and some money because she needs money. That's
me too.
So, well, he's got to, find the right couch or find the right restaurant that pays in tips and has a an apartment above.
Right.
I don't know.
Or the right parking lot that doesn't. It's not going to arrest you for.
Yeah, I don't know about LA. I don't.
Well, Magic Jump has those
They
big
just
blow up.
distract them right before it closes. Hey, look over there. Is that Big Ben? And jump in one of the. Well, but I mean, when Zoe was telling me the rent, which it seems high, but around here, there's people that are paying more for rent around here than what I pay for my mortgage. So it's not, it's not like exclusively expensive there. I
Right.
think.
Renting just sucks in general.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I was looking and I was just like, oh my God. Some of these places, then I look at some of my friends who are renting. I'm like, oh, I guess it's not that bad.
Yeah. Anthony said Santa Monica. When we went to Laguna Beach has a large amount of people that sleep outside. But if you're going to have to sleep outside, Laguna Beach is a place to go.
Yeah.
We got to hang out more with Dr. Mad's studio. Seems like he's met a lot of folks over there.
I know, right? That's pretty cool.
Next, he's going to tell us he hung out with Warwick.
Yeah, Warwick. I got one picture of Warwick when we were in Chicago. But yeah, no, I'm curious. I'm excited to what this year is going to do for Zoe, and then in whatever John's adventure takes him on, and always bring a dog and sleep out. Yeah, but again, you get to like. I know when Zoe was very upset with the mass transit in LA compared to Philly, because Philly you could go all over, and their mass transit wasn't the best. Yeah, man, Dr. Mad Studio he should be Dr. Knows Everybody.
Next thing he's gonna say is he's met Don Johnson.
My cousin. Look, I didn't bring up my stupid stories this time.
No,
Hey,
it's
we
the
never
1 year
called him
anniversary.
stupid.
Someone had to.
We never called your story stupid. To your face.
I don't know. I was telling. Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. The problem with when Zoe would troop, though, some of those Ubers were like $60 to go to a troop, which is dedication.
That was 15 miles away.
But that's where John Rodriguez of the Dad Batch, man, he watched out for her so wonderfully, you know. Like she didn't have to, like there was a lot of times he just took her home without, you know, like because when they did some troops, they'd be going home late and stuff. So I can't say enough good things about the SoCal 501st or the LA. I don't know if that's LA County. I think SoCal is different. Whatever the LA people was really nice. Freddy Krueger. I've never watched a Freddy Krueger movie though.
Yeah, we got photos with Robert Englund once.
Yeah, he was at Steel City last year.
Yeah.
You mean SteelCon?
SteelCon. Oh my
Steel-
god.
Steel
I
City.
cannot-
Steel City had to do something about their hotel, man.
I know.
I can't. They're killing me. They're killing me. Like I'm gonna probably have to book December here soon. If it, you know, you have to just guess which weekend it is and get a hotel room.
Right.
Because if I would have went to December, the hotel at Steel City would have cost me twice what I'm paying for the one in London.
See, now you've just jumped back into troop time.
Troop time.
So,
You know,
because we're still in podcast talk, I'm curious. So we've talked a little bit about what we've accomplished in the year since we first flew. What are some of the things that you would like us to do in the next 50 plus weeks as we look out towards this next year?
Become more professional, but not at the expense of the show. Not professional, but like I think of the podcast I like the Stream of Conscious podcast more than the scripted most of the time. Like I like Ken when you have a research, but I like yours in that regard, and I like Stuff You Missed in History Class in that regard, and a couple others. But a lot of my Star Wars podcasts, I like topics that are explored. Star Wars prank calls, yeah. Well, we are going to do our comedy special. Okay, Anthony, we are doing.
That shows up on the list of things to look forward to.
John's shaking his head because that's going to be the date. That's what's going to force John to move. He's going to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I'm moving that day."
yeah.
I need someone to carry my couch.
Hey, Mike, you want to hear some really bad news? Because I was curious.
What's that?
$144 a night for
what?
December for the
And it's
double
sold
tree.
out?
No, it's not sold out.
Oh, okay.
It's $144
It's
a
been up
night.
already.
So, well, because like I just guessed because it's usually the second weekend,
Yeah.
second or third weekend. So I did the 15th, 16th, 17th. It's $144 a night. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Anyway,
remember when
sorry.
they would. It was 100. I think the first time I went, it was 105 a night, and then which I guess everything's up. But the DoubleTree, I wouldn't mind if the DoubleTree threw a couple dollars back into their building, but it's showing its age.
Yeah.
Like I think I got Legionnaire's disease the one time. Like I had like a persistent cough for like 3 weeks after Steel City one time. Con crud, They used to, but no, I mean, I hope we stay with this pace, which that would be remarkable. We've already
proven we
surpassed
can.
where most podcasts fail, because most podcasts you're lucky if you get 20 episodes. That's a big deal, and you're lucky if you last a year. And I know even with CreatiCast, we just had a hard time. It came down to scheduling. And if I would say to anyone out there, Troopinator's disease, I would say to anyone out there starting a podcast, just set a time to do it and try to bend your schedule around it. And then you find if you're committed or not.
Mhm.
Like I've always had that with Zoe. Zoe and Lizzie did best when they were like, okay, this night. There was a couple years where they just did it a specific night. And they did much better than, because now like Lizzie works weird schedules and Zoe's was working weird schedules, and it's just hard to keep up because it's just one more thing you have to remember, And for me, Wednesday night's podcast night. Like if someone wants to do something, I'm like, I can't. Sometimes I have to, but most time I try not to schedule anything on Wednesday nights. It's just It's a commitment to you guys. It's also just a commitment to myself. It's a relaxing. It gets me through the week.
Right. Yeah, it's 2 or 3 hours of just sitting down chatting about Star Wars, and like you said, plus it helps me realize it's my I don't want to phrase this. It's my marker for where we're at in the week. Like, oh, Wednesday night, it's the beginning of my week. 7 more days, it'll be Wednesday again.
Yeah.
So Wednesday's the new Monday?
Pretty much.
Okay.
It keeps me on track. It's my seeing stone.
We have where I work, we don't have an ending time on Wednesday because we have bus shortages on Wednesday. So my school day ends anywhere from my students leave, not my school day. My students leave anywhere from 2:25 to 3:05.
Jesus.
And we don't know. We don't it's literally whenever the buses get there, they leave. And so that's just the stressful. If you're stuck in a room with 25 kids, that you could have them for an extra 5 minutes up to 35 minutes. It makes Wednesday not so much fun.
Right.
And then, when they leave, then I got to do my stuff, which can be anywhere from another half hour to an hour before I leave. And so it does make Wednesday, this makes something to look forward to get me through that. So.
Now, when you say you'd like our show to be more professional, are you talking about topic wise? Are you talking about pacing wise? Are you talking about having little clips in, or what? How are you gauging more professional?
Pretty much everything you've been saying all year, in the sense that we need topics and we need, I should just say we just need to. I just should put this way. What Ken said. No, I mean it does need a focus. Like it's fun not to have the focus, but I feel like the Georgies almost proved how much fun we had in an extremely structured show. And it just has to be like whether we decide, hey, look, we're going to start at 9, but we'll do a half hour pre-show or whatever we want to do. Not that we'll do it tonight or tomorrow night, but I just think so we got a year in, we established that we can do a podcast and we can talk and we have multiple subjects. So if we're still doing the same type of show, there's nothing wrong with that. But if it gets more fun as we make it better. Yeah. In my opinion. Like I listen to John's shows. Like John's show is well produced. He has a good topic. And as much as you might think you wander off topic, John, your topics always seem to just, they're captivating. Same with yours, Ken. I just want our show to have that same,
Yeah, and for instance, like our segments, we'll know a week in advance whether one of us will be able to troop, or and some of those consistent ones, whether it's costume corner or podcast talk or whatever, we know that those can be go-to topics. No matter what, we can just put that banner up and we can roll through that without much planning. However, the other ones, whether it's we're focusing on a theme like family, or focusing on a series like the Mandalorian season 3 or whatever, hopefully we're going to have to do a recap of yours when you come back from Celebration, because we're going to want to hear all about it from you after the fact, so you can go and enjoy it and then tell us all about it, so we feel bad that we weren't with you.
Right. Hey, you never know. Someone might bail on the podcast stage and one of our shows could make it.
There you go. Well,
thanks for joining us, Dr. Mad Studio.
John's not quite as bitter because he hasn't been to Celebration yet. It's right. I think once you're I honestly, when I thought I wasn't going to Europe, I was going to just black out all of the Star Wars news I was just so bitter that I wasn't going to England, because once you go, it's like you don't know what potato chips are until you have them, and then once you have them, it's so hopefully the next one, my guess is we'll see them we'll probably go to Orlando next, would be my guess.
I hope. We were actually talking about this at the troop on Friday. And this could just be tinfoil hat chatter. But with everything going on with the Florida government and Disney, they might kind of keep away from Florida. So maybe Chicago again. I would be okay
Anaheim.
with Chicago.
Yeah,
Because-
Anaheim. Well, and I think a couple things that affect what they do is weather.
Mhm.
You know, and like
To a
Chicago,
certain
I
degree.
liked Chicago.
Chicago
I
had 3 seasons in one weekend.
yeah, I like the setup for Chicago. The Anaheim setup was nice too. The Florida setup was probably my least favorite of all of them. I mean, it was still nice. Like when I say least favorite, it's like, still super wonderful. But Florida, like I felt like I was walking forever to get to anything.
Mhm.
Because if you look at a map of Florida, you forget everything's humongous down there. So we got the hotel right next to it. It was still a 45-minute walk to get to the convention on a concrete skyway or something like that. So where Chicago, I thought was much easier.
Well, for Anaheim, when we went, we were about half a mile away. We walked every day.
Yeah. That's what we were too. We were like a block away. Anaheim is nice because they have an outside area.
Where
Was
all the
that how
food
it
trucks
was
and
for
stuff
you?
are?
Like it was, you checked in like way off of the beaten path, and then you could get there like however early you wanted, and it was just full of people, and you just hung out.
Yep.
So that was really nice. But Chicago I liked because I felt like there was just more space, like it was spaced out really well. But
Yeah,
who
for me,
knows?
Chicago was a blur because
Repop's
we were only lucky enough to go for one day, and I know I sound spoiled. I apologize for that. We were just there one day, and it was like a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I mean, we got pictures with Ahmed Best. We did this over here. We got pictures with Paul Bettany. Ran over here, grabbed something to eat real fast, and then ran around and did all sorts of stuff. And then when we were on the flight home, like, oh, we missed this, we missed the other thing, we didn't do that. I didn't see this person. Like, what did
I
we
looked
actually
through all
do
my
in that day?
pictures, Ken. I looked through all my pictures, and you weren't in the background of any of them.
Damn it!
I was checking. I was like, because what day were you there?
I think we were there Saturday. It was the day before it snowed.
Yeah. So I went through and looked through all my pictures, and I did not see Ken anywhere. What do we got here?
Well, Ken is going on about how he was only able to go to Celebration for one day.
Oh, you're getting a little violin.
So I have the world's smallest violin that I will
Playing my
play
heart.
for you.
Plays my heart bleeds for
Shouldn't
you.
it be? Wait a minute. Shouldn't it be the world's smallest vowel chord?
He is tone deaf.
Don't give me another project. I still have so much that I have to do.
He's printing it now.
Yeah.
But I do. I've got the world's smallest violin.
Oh, I love that. You jerk.
That was a gift from one of my coworkers a couple years ago for Christmas because I like anytime they would start, or no, it's one of my employees, but whenever they would start complaining about something, I would always
Nice.
the world's smallest violin.
Oh. Well, the one thing that we do in our house is we say, "Oh, can you get me a bowl, please?" And a bowl for what? A bowl for your crybaby soup.
Now, Ken, when you went to Chicago, did you get to go in the Falcon?
No, we didn't.
Did you get to get on the tank?
That we did, I believe. Yeah,
I watched them tear that tank apart, man. That was like, I could
because this
build
is
one
big
of
chunks,
those.
right? Big.
They were just foam chunks. Like it looked like a real meaty tank, and then like like a 90-pound girl's picking up the like one corner of the tank and taking out some pins and carrying it off.
That's funny. So we've
But
got
yeah,
on our list.
I'd
for
love to
this
see
year.
it go to Chicago.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
There's no airfare.
I'd love it to be in California again because pretty
Yeah.
soon George's Museum is going to be open.
Yeah, but that's in.
That's in Los Angeles, I thought.
Is it in? I don't know.
thought.
Yeah, who knows, man? It depends if Reed Pop like they've rumored the last 3 that it's going to be the last one that Reed Pop runs. So because Mary Franklin left Reed Pop after Orlando, I believe, and she was like the last vestige of Lucasfilm.
So coming back to our show, we've got for this year to be more professional. What do you think we should work on, John, or would like to see us do?
Well, I mean, not that I don't enjoy talking to you guys for several hours, but I think we should be a little more strict on our time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
What's a realistic amount? Like 90 minutes, 2 hours?
I think anywhere between 90 minutes to 2 hours is reasonable.
Okay.
So like an hour 45 is kind of that sweet spot for me.
Yeah. Plus, I also think a shorter time becomes less valuable when you think you have a lot of it. And then if your podcast becomes too long, like I try to think of the ones I listen to. I don't listen to too many ones that are super long, even with my commute, because I'd rather have variety than, a whole bunch.
And
Yep.
to your point, John, about enjoy spending time with us, I would like to see this year for us to get a couple more guests on.
Yep.
Whether it's other podcasters or connections that Mike has. Hint, 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 hinton.
They're falling on deaf ears, man. I have put out so many things for Zoe's show in the last month.
No, I'm talking even like I think Sal would be a fantastic. guest.
Listen, I ask Sal all the time, but he works. He works in the post office, so he's working like helping put his kid through college. He's like he works overtime. Like by the time he gets home, he's like, and then he does like 6 other podcasts. So
well, he can invite us onto his show and be a bleed over episode.
Yeah, I try. I do message him, and he just told me just keep messaging me, and when he's available, I messaged him today. So,
well, what's that? You always say that you're persistent.
Yes. Oh, I am very persistent. So,
I think if we're going for goals for at least one thing that we want to accomplish this year, we have to do a live show at one point with all 3 of us in the same room.
Yeah.
Oh yes, please.
Well, and that could be as simple as on the 25th, if all goes well and no rain, and we're filming at the Cliffs. That might be a live whatever, a live something.
Well, we could turn it into interviews. So interviewing the director.
Yes, get those wheels turning.
You know what I mean? Like it could be that kind of thing.
I'm gonna start looking for the remote mics now.
Get a Zoom.
Zooms are a little easier to use.
Yeah, the mics. The problem is the mics is if you don't have them plugged into a Zoom. Let me see. Let me get up my box of goodies.
He's got like a whole.
Get a cheap Zoom. These are really good. I think this is it's the H1 Zoom. I think they're under 100. They're very nice. They take an SD card, and then if you want to, this is the one that you can put on a boom mic.
Not that I have any experience with one of those.
This guy here, it has 2 full-size mic inputs.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So,
and
this takes an SD card as well.
Because we could make it so these interviews could be just a handful of questions. We don't ask everybody all of the questions,
right?
But we spend 6 minutes with Matt and 6 minutes with Ned and 4 minutes with this officer and 3 minutes with these 2 stormtroopers in between scenes. And
no, I think you should ask while they're filming. They like that even more.
Oh yeah. Can you say that again? Can you speak into my boom? No, not their boom. My boom.
Plug the boom mic into ours, and not tell them.
Yeah.
Surprise.
He doesn't pay attention to that stuff anyway. He's too busy. He's too busy directing. But yeah, that'd be super fun. And or if we get together for a troop.
Yeah.
Whether it's SteelCon or one of the
other. My OCD. I yell at him every time.
I know. That was probably the funniest part. One of the funniest parts of the episode.
What's your dad saying? SteelCon?
It drives me nuts.
For probably the first 45 minutes of the show. Until you finally.
I hope that Steel City hears it and then renames it.
That would be a whole different thing. Granted, I wouldn't be thrilled. But yeah, no. I no matter how many times I correct him, it's just deaf ears.
Well, it's because it's you. If it was anybody else, oh yeah, thanks, I appreciate that. I'll make sure I. But you're the little guy.
Well, he is
Yeah.
he is Krennic, so he can do whatever he wants.
That's true. That's very true. But is that where we end it with the Steel Con? We got more.
I think the one thing I want to say as I think back over this year, and I know I've shared this stuff with you guys via Messenger in between shows. I absolutely positively want to make sure that the world hears me say this, that I appreciate the time, effort, and energy that the two of you put into this thing, and for allowing me to participate in it, because I look forward to these Wednesdays, and it's so nice to know that this random chance meeting amongst the three of us has blossomed into something that's so remarkable. I just want to say thank you for
thank you,
allowing me
too.
to be part of it.
Ken, you give me too much credit. You act like I do so much behind the scenes. I just show up on Wednesday nights. So this is all Mike. Dude,
I listen. I think all of us feel probably that we do very little, but it's because we like doing what we're doing. Like my homework was to listen to some podcast. That's a pretty good homework assignment.
Yeah.
And I'll listen to some more. John, you weren't here. The first two I started with were live online Star Wars gaming. That made no explanation of what was going on.
I did not hear I heard that those were the two you were listening to, but I did not hear the elaboration on that.
No, it wasn't anything bad other than I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. But that's what when we started the show before you were on, we decided to explain what our show was a little bit, because that was the only off-putting part to me. I felt lost in something that I was trying to listen to.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we tried to explain a little bit about what we did. I don't know if we veered off, but so we'll close with this. We're going to try to make the year better. We have a comedy show coming up, which that I actually do have to actually sit down and do some actual work on, to plan that out. And I think if I can't get CreatorCast restarted, we should do one of the Shakespeare ones, because John has not experienced that trauma and fun.
Well,
oh my God,
do you want to
let it be Revenge of the Sith?
Well, because which ones did we finish with CreatorCast? Didn't we finish the trilogy?
Did we do New Hope? I think we just finish all of New Hope?
Maybe that's what it was.
I think we finished the whole book. I think we did 3 episodes, and we finished the whole book. And John, it was scary, funny, goofy, unprepared, and prepared. It was
still a good show for everything. Every negative you're throwing at it, it was still extremely entertaining. Because I had people
I had people that I work with that barely ever saw Star Wars, and I posted up on Facebook. They're like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Like the one woman that did Leia, I barely knew her at work. She just called in and did it. Like it was just like, And Marcus, again, I would love to do it on this live, because watching Marcus have a conversation as Obi-Wan and C-3PO in the same breath I was the only one that could see it, because I think we were doing it via Skype, weren't we?
No, it was something else.
Clean feed.
Clean feed.
Yeah.
Sound feed. Clean feed. Yeah, clean feed.
Yeah.
So I couldn't see anything. Audio. And I didn't put it together until just this moment that's the Marcus from filming. I didn't know that was the Marcus.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was. I mean, he kind of started a little side hustle of voiceover not long after that. Like he built himself a little sound studio and everything. I don't know what he does. Like I don't know if he does it for a living, but
So why is he not a guest on our show? What the hell?
It just dawned on me today. It just dawned on me right now. I don't know why he's not a guest on this show.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
Well,
and I think Marty. I meant to talk to Marty today, but it got away from me. I think Marty would be a regular guest too, if we want.
No, I mean he's been on here before, so he knows what we do.
Well, that might be the reason why he's not on here more often. That could be the problem, because he knows what we do.
So, but yeah, I mean, I would love to do one of those Shakespeare ones. Your dad would get a kick out of that too.
Oh my
His
God.
dad could participate.
Yeah, if we do it on a Sunday or a Monday night.
Well, if you, and then I know I'm talking way past what we want to talk about, but the guy who wrote those books, I think how he got the deal, if I remember correctly, because I listened to him on a podcast, he did a live reading of it or something for George Lucas.
Really?
The guy who made him in the first one, or so, I forget how the whole thing went. You might know more about it, Ken, but there was a
Not
whole
yet, but I will look into it now that you mention that.
yeah, there was a whole story about I forget how I forget what podcast I listened to. I can't remember if it was Full of Sith or it could have been some of those early Star Wars podcasts I listened to that aren't around anymore. But he did an interview and he was talking about it. So
That sounds like someone that Full of Seth would interview. They've interviewed, or what about Tarkin's Top Shelf?
no, this wasn't Tarkin's Top Shelf. This was what was the other what was Justin Bolger's one? That might be before your podcasting time, Ken. But
Yeah,
Justin Bolger, who works for Lucasfilm now, he used to have a podcast. And I thought it was like I don't think it was the Star Wars Report because I think that was a brother and sister team that used to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But anyway, he might even, you know what, it might have been Coffee with Kenobi.
Okay.
So, but
Well, we might as well wrap up this first anniversary episode.
yeah.
If I knew an anniversary song, I'd sing it to you, and I don't, so you're welcome.
And where can they find each of you? And then we'll leave it with that.
Well, they can find me, Kenan, one of the hosts from the Forces Behind Star Wars and the Rambling Star Wars Fan. And I just want to put a plug out there for 2 episodes that I'm getting ready to record. One of them is going to be about The Last Jedi, and another is going to be my first episode with a guest. I'm making arrangements to talk with one of my bestest good friends from Australia named Clem, and we're going to go into a deep examination of the politics that show up in the Andor series.
Nice.
Ironically enough, that it is Clem.
Yes, and it's funny you say that because I'm going to make sure I mention that. And just so you know, John, that's going to be the first episode that I give topics to you so that you can then listen to the episode and figure out how all of these things connect.
Oh, Jesus.
And one of the topics will be Clem. So, and where can we
All
find
right.
you, John?
I am the host of the Beskar Bucket. Obviously, you can find me here on the Inflatable Falcon as well. This Friday, I have my AI-generated episode coming out, so everyone can look forward to that. I definitely did not record that 2 weeks ago and put it out for 2 weeks, but yeah, so that'll be this Friday. I did an entire episode using the Chat GPT function, so that'll be an interesting little deep dive into Revenge of the Sith for you. So hopefully my cadence is right, because it's the first time I've had to read something lengthy for the show, and I've always been real self-conscious about my reading ability. So it'll definitely be an interesting episode for sure. Definitely unlike the others.
If you read it in a robot voice, it'll be all the better.
Yeah.
True. It does sound a little robotic, so.
All right. Well, you can find me here and I don't know, Hinton Cosplay Family at Instagram and TikTok, and Zoe's podcast, Star Wars Geek Girl. And I will try to get a ring light so I don't look like the Crypt Keeper from now on. So, and I guess even the Crypt Keeper is an old man reference too. So,
Better be a crypt keeper than a gatekeeper. So,
well, that's true. That is definitely true. So I will leave everyone with. Whoops! I didn't even have it queued up this time, but I will talk to you guys later.
see you later. Have a great one.
Well, you look the part, but let's see some of your moves.
So see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to, ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carbonites off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, told me get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so